Hello, or as they say in Belgium, hello, and welcome back to the Lapdown Podcast. My name is Alex. Dan, you're going to hear next. I'm in a new hotel this time. This time I'm in Belgium. I'm securing contracts for future Grand Prix around here. Dan's in the UK and he doesn't need to worry about contracts because I'm pretty sure we've got Silverstone forever. But we've got the Singapore Grand Prix to talk about, and quite a lot to talk about from the Singapore Grand Prix because, oh boy, there's some headline business. But first of all, my headline business, Dan, how are you?
Big, big business. And as I'd say in Singapore, hello. What a
Just
what a great five-letter word that you can just
We
use
are a
all around the world.
multinational podcast. I'll tell you that much.
Fantastic. Bit of French there as well for you. I'm very well, thanks, mate. I'm very well. I caught up with the Singapore Grand Prix this morning. Did you watch it live or did you watch it on the catch up?
I was delayed by a couple of hours. I avoided
Okay.
spoilers, and then I watched it in full, and I was delayed by a couple of hours.
Nice. What did you think about the Grand Prix as a whole?
A lot more happened than you would believe if you were a very casual fan and you just watched the TV broadcast and then turned it off and didn't read anything or look at socials or anything else.
Yeah.
I think you'd be forgiven for thinking that that was a bit of a bore fest. You know, it was a bit of a blue flag balls kind of situation, right? We had Norris respectably charging down on Max, not really an overtaking kind of track, kept getting to 0.5, 0.6 of a second. That was it. Drop back, charge your battery, try again.
Yeah.
Guess what? 0.6 of a second, drop back. There was a lot of other action going on. It was just down the field, and for some reason, the race director just decided, also the TV director just decided, they don't want to see that. They don't want to see Carlos Sainz charging through the field on a set of softs at the end to come back from a pit lane start and score points. They don't want to see it. They don't want to see that Lewis Hamilton's driving around a street circuit with no brakes and is being hunted down by Fernando Alonso. They don't want to see it. I did want to see it. I didn't get to see it.
Is it a bit of if a tree falls in the woods, does it make a noise type situation with the rating of the Singapore Grand Prix? Because yes, there were some interesting things that happened off camera. However, if they don't happen on camera, did they actually happen at all? And how relevant are they in the broadcast or in the wider Formula One piece? I know Formula One's got this fantastic setup now, haven't they? With those that subscribe to F1 TV, that you can go through and you can watch onboards for individual drivers, and you can kind of be your own broadcaster, can't you? Director, which is quite frankly, when you think about it with other sports around the world, that is phenomenal that you're able to do that from the bedroom in your mum and dad's house or something, which is amazing. But actually, the vast majority of us are going to be reliant on that TV director to make those feelings, those emotions, those enjoyments, those great kind of incidents happen. So if that tree falls in the wood and no one's there to see it, does it actually make a noise?
Yeah, because there was quite a pleasant, at one point, Kimi Antonelli-shaped bit of wood that pulled off a seriously good move.
Great piece of mahogany.
At that point, it would have been Lewis Hamilton. I think he got past at that stage, like sent it down the inside. It was on one of the Ferraris. But we didn't see a replay of that. So I was watching with the F1 TV commentary as well. I'm actually a recent convert to them away from Sky. I'm on the Jolyon Palmer train. But they noted it on the broadcast that he'd gotten past. And then it took something like 8 laps for them to show a replay of this move. But as they showed the replay of the move, all of the other conversation was about the other Ferrari. And I can't remember whether it was Hamilton or Leclerc, but the conversation had moved on. Everyone was talking about and was worried about what was going on with the other Ferrari. And then we cut to a replay, and it's Kimi Antonelli steaming past the other Ferrari 20 minutes ago. It's like, well, at this point, don't show me it. Just put it on social after the race. I don't need it on the broadcast anymore because we've moved on.
Yeah, it was a poor show. Whoever was directing that Grand Prix for that weekend did not do them. They didn't colour themselves great, did they? They did not put together a great spectacle. But so that's how it'd be interesting to see where we put it on our kind of bang scale at the end of the season as to how banged we were, because I don't think either of us, based on what we saw, unless we want to really kind of go behind the curtain, are able to turn around and say with any certainty as to whether that was an absolute banger of a Grand Prix. But do we just where do we actually want to start? Do we want to start at the start? Because if we start at the start, then we're probably done on the podcast.
You're thinking with your got to drag people past the ad break. We don't have ads, so we don't drag people past the ad break.
Great point.
No, I think we can start at the start. I think we've done a lot of lap one, turn one episodes, and guess what? She's a lap one, turn one episode. Well, technically turn two, I think. It's the second. It's a wiggler, isn't it? I think it was the second half of the wiggler.
Maybe 3. Who knows?
Oh, I mean, where do you even begin with your lap one, turn one stuff? Off you go. I'll let you have a crack with it because I don't know where you begin with it. But we'll dive in. Come on.
We will. Okay, right. So those that how have you missed it? I don't know. Lando went down the inside of Piastri, and they bumped. And Lando went through, and Oscar went backwards, and then there were a whole bunch of radio messages afterwards from one car going back to the pit wall, asking questions, finding out what needed to be done, what hadn't been done, why it wasn't done, all this other good stuff. Do you know? And we run the risk here of really damaging the Anglo-Australian relations that we have going on in this kind of podcast
Here we go.
world. But I think that's exactly what we wanted from this championship battle. It's what we wanted from Norris and Piastri all the way through the season. I don't genuinely think either of us two, or the majority of people who watch and enjoy Formula One, want to live their Grand Prix by papaya rules. I think we want to see gloves off, slug it out, whoever comes out on top, within the realms of the laws and the possibilities. We're not talking about a Brad Pitt scenario here in the F1 movie, which I have now watched, by the way. We don't want any of that make-believe nonsense. But we want good, hard racing. And that feels like we got that in Singapore, albeit it was on the very, very extremities of what would be good, hard racing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll phrase it this way, or I'll put it to you this way. If it wasn't Oscar on the outside that he bumped wheels with, right? Say Oscar was ahead, right? So George has disappeared down the road. Let's swap George and Oscar, right? Yep. So Oscar's disappeared down the road and it's George that he bumps into. I think everyone goes, brave move, good move. Yeah, go on, son. And I don't think George Russell's on the radio. If that happens, I think he might say someone bumped into me, check the left side. But he's not going, Lando's got to give that back. What's Lando doing? Blimey. Like, it's a straight up lap one, turn one racing incident. And it's so nice to see Lando be punchy. And I think we're approaching it from the same but slightly different angles, in a sense that I think Lando's copped a lot of criticism this year about he's not got that killer instinct. He's not got a champion's instinct because Max would have done this and Senna would have done that and all this bollocks. You can't tell me that wasn't a Max Verstappen look and move from Lando Norris. That was, I've got a great lunge off the line, and guess what? You can all get out the fucking way now. Like, it was... But I don't even think it was that ballsy. I mean, he did get off the line wonderfully well, and he had the inside line going into that corner. I found it very interesting. I don't know if you saw his, like, casting couch comments afterwards when they do their post-match stuff. And he sounded different. Lando, his tone was different, and he almost had like a different facial expression on, and he looked like a different bloke. But he made a really interesting point, which I think a lot of people, if it might be bullshit, it might not. Lando was like, even if I didn't go quite that hard, and he did say, I misjudged it a little bit. It can happen lap one, turn one. I got there a little bit quick. I bumped into the 2 championship rivals. Great effort, by the way, in one corner. But he said, I would have got him anyway, because I had the inside through that corner. So, okay, yes, that wasn't ideal that we banged wheels and I did disadvantage him. It was a lap one. It can happen. But I had the inside on a great run and I was going to get him anyway. Which, I don't know if people are considering that, okay, say they got really close and they didn't touch. He probably does steam off down the road, or at the very least they go into the next corner side by side and Oscar maybe does have to back out of it.
Yeah. It must be weird for people listening and thinking, God, there's 2 people I'm listening to that are actually kind of fairly middling in terms of views with regards to this. And it's not polarizing like extremities going on here as the fact that one ought to be sentenced to death and the next ought to be just given the world championship for the sake of it, which is basically the vibe and the feel that I've got from the social media posts, which we'll speak about I think in due course, particularly on the McLaren stuff. Some of the comments on there are hilariously salty, which is very funny. But honestly, it's what we wanted. I will stand by that, and I hope for the next 6 races, and ultimately Lando's going to have to be the one to be the aggressor because he's got the ground to catch up. Not as much as Max Verstappen, obviously, as the other championship contender. Genuine contender as well, I might add. But it's what we want. We want more of it. We need more of it. We want a real ding-dong fight through to the end of this season. We don't want a little kind of, we'll give the place back and don't give the place back. And we're just going to end up giving a bit of a mute point all the way to Abu Dhabi, which F1 will jizz over because there's just 24 points between all we need is, and we're all sitting there going, it's been dull as dishwater, mate. All they're going to do is be told to switch round if they need to, because that's the way it works. And that, I think, leads on to the next point with regards to what the problem is with papaya rules, is the fact that they're so unclear. And we are left with this feeling of double standards, which generates these highly polarizing opinions of what we should and shouldn't have. They've kind of packaged up their team orders with papaya rules. They've never really explained what that means. And they've kind of given each of their drivers and their fans an opportunity just to say, papaya rules, when something hasn't quite worked the way that they want it to go. And I don't think that's really helped anybody in the long run.
No, and I actually, not to toot one's own horns, but I feel like
that's me tooting a horn then.
When we had the first introduction of the phrase papaya rules, I think me and you both said at the time, why the fuck have you branded it? Because it's the fact that they've branded it that I think breeds half of this. Yeah. Because every team has papaya rules. There's nothing special about them. From what we've been told and what we're led to believe, papaya rules means you are welcome to race each other, just don't fucking hit each other. That's just teamwork racing. That doesn't need branding and logos and, brand guidelines, documents and stuff that for some reason they've given them. And I think that causes problems because then it feels kitsier and it feels like it should be more open and accessible. It's just, we don't know what goes on at Alpine. We don't know what the Alpine, agreement between the two drivers there are in terms of how they race each other. Give you a hot tip. It's going to be exactly the same as McLaren. McLaren are not doing anything differently, I don't think. I could maybe see it at somewhere like Mercedes and, definitely at Red Bull. I don't think...
Red Bull haven't had that conversation.
But their papaya rules don't look the same. Their papaya rules are get the fuck out of the way and don't you dare even think about it. And I think it's the same at Mercedes.
Honestly, on a Sunday, I don't even know if Max knows he has a teammate anymore.
No. Well, I think someone like Mercedes, I can't bring myself to believe that they are under maybe the same racing guidelines as the McLarens are. Not that it really matters. That's not what this discussion is. But it's because they branded it. And again, we are so good at segues on this podcast. Is there a ranking? You know how they say like we are the number 1 rated sports podcast in Argentina and all the rest of it?
Yes.
Can we be the number 1 rated sports podcast for segues between segments? Because I'm about to say this is all PR on the papaya rules thing. And guess what the next line item is?
We've got to be close. We've got to be close. Segue me up.
Yes, let's go. PR. There's your segue. Me and you both work on the back end of sport, right? And in slightly different roles. I've been in-house as a media manager, marketing person, and just about every other role at a cricket club. And part of that was PR and press releases and how we put things across and crisis comms and all of that. You obviously work on sort of the other side of it, but you're behind the curtain enough to know how things go. I'm not going to call out individuals because it will be a team of about 15 at McLaren that are doing this with people at different levels or whatever. But Jeezy peeps, McLaren, sort your PR out. Have another boardroom meeting and work out what the strategy is here because the PR strategy at the minute doesn't exist. And what you're trying to do with it is not working. And before I go on a 5-minute soliloquy about it, I'll give you a chance to throw your side on it, because then I'm coming off the long run on this.
It all just feels very vibesy at McLaren. And
But the
I
vibes
don't
are
know whether.
shit. That's the problem.
Pardon?
But the vibes are shit. That's the
Well,
problem.
yeah, but generally speaking, across the course of McLaren, the vibes have been great across the course of the year. I mean, they've not really had to worry about anything, and I think that's possibly where it's come along here. It's just gone a bit vibesy. It's kind of gone, yeah, that'll do. We'll just do it. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out afterwards. Will it work? Won't it work? Does it matter? Who cares? Don't know. I mean, there was a brilliant piece. One of my favorite creators is a guy called Simon Wilson, and he put together a content piece earlier this year when he was in New Zealand and he was at the home of McLaren in wherever the town was, wherever that first kind of garage was. And he DM'd the McLaren and was like, if I can get to wherever with a £1 coin to Monaco, will you give me a ticket or something? And they were like, yeah, of course. And I'm sure it was more teed up than that, but that feels very vibesy. Yeah. And how they've gone and celebrated the World Constructors Championship again feels quite vibesy. Now, I know, before I go even further into it, I know you have an official statement here which provides a bit more context as to what happened, but the way it looked as it transpired was that Lando stayed on the podium with his trophy for finishing third, was then surrounded by his teammates, whilst Oscar, looking quite glum, looked over his shoulder to see the TV screen in the pen or whatever it's called, to see Lando and his McLaren team celebrating the Constructors' Championship without Oscar Piastri.
Yeah. Which objectively is what's happened. They've celebrated winning the lot without having the bloke that is, in theory, more responsible for that. You know, on paper, Oscar's done more of that than Lando has, albeit very close. So, as you say, there are a couple of extenuating circumstances, if we are to believe. So we are taking this, you know, there's a bit of a rundown from the race of who have given more of an insight into how that process went down. I am prepared. No, I'm not actually. I was about to say I'm prepared to give McLaren some flack. I'm not. Whoever is the wrangler, right, for McLaren, and there will be a couple of them that are just, you see them, obviously they've got their PR person that stands next to them when they do their interviews. There are those people everywhere, right, because everything is so locked down. By all accounts, this was a bit, ironically, vibesy, the way all this happened, and it was actually FOM and F1 in general that made this podium celebration happen for the team. And for what it's worth, wonderful thing. Really nice to get crew members and blokes in shorts that you don't usually expect to see, and ladies in shorts, up on the podium to celebrate this. It's their achievement. They're the constructors. And I get it. I don't think Lando Norris was actually penciled in to be part of that. I think the idea was this is a team and Zach and Andrea and whatever celebration. There needed to be a stronger arm from a PR person when they saw Lando going back the other way, being like, up, no, I'm taking him away. So it's a far smaller version, for example, but the amount of media days I did where you do your team photos, right? And you see one of the players who's walking in, he's got the wrong shoes on because he thought that's going to be okay and it's not a big deal. And you've got to grab him by the back of the collar and you go, up, change. And you have to do it. And you feel like a bit of a dick for doing it because you are being a dick, but it's your job to be a dick in that moment. There wasn't enough dicks near the podium for McLaren because that's such a fumble. There's just, how did no one up there think, this doesn't look great? Where's Oscar?
Yeah.
And as soon as Oscar wasn't there, how do they not just like kick Lando in the shins so he ducks down behind everyone and can't be seen anymore? Because it's just such a fumble. It's such a fumble, and you're going to give people the opportunity for these narratives. And guess what? We've now got all these narratives, which are easily explainable.
Yeah.
The people that are worked up in the Instagram comments are not reading articles that explain it.
They're not. And even with an article that explains it, it still doesn't look fantastic.
No, it's shit.
Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't look great. Is Oscar Piastri Kevin from Home Alone?
I've never seen Home Alone, so I haven't seen Home Alone. I've got a film degree. I don't need to see Home Alone.
But I thought that was. I just thought everybody had seen that.
I haven't seen Indiana Jones. I haven't seen Star Wars. I've seen episode 1, which I'm told is the good one of Star Wars.
I mean, I'm bad with films, genuinely bad. And maybe speaking of bad films, we'll speak about that another day. But how? Fine. In which case, I thought I'd make quite a good reference there, but clearly that has
Oh,
fallen on
you
absolute.
still can. I'll just smile and
No,
nod.
no. It's done now. If anybody's listening to the podcast or watching the podcast and you think that I've made a good reference there towards Oscar Piastri being Kevin from Home Alone, please let me know, because I feel slightly invalidated at the moment.
Can happen. So does
Right.
so does Oscar, ironically. So these things things can happen.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. I feel you, Oscar. Don't worry, mate. I understand what you're going through. Have we got anything else to kind of run through with regards to the actual McLaren papaya side of things, or is it time to move on to talk about other things in the Grand Prix?
I do, and I'll keep myself to a brief. I'll keep myself to the sprint race version. Right? They've continued shitting the bed after shitting the bed on the podium celebration moment. Right? They stripped those sheets off the bed. They put some fresh sheets on the bed, and then they hopped back in and curled another one out because they've
There was
tried
no
to
curling
act on.
involved. This was just explosive.
They've tried to act on social like nothing happened. And the worst thing you can do a lot of the time when you've had a moment like this is pretend like nothing happened. And they almost went worse than that, is they tried to pretend like nothing happened while also kind of gaslighting everybody into the fact that nothing did happen. So there's like a post they put out of Oscar and Lando giving each other like the high-fivey, handshakey, dap up type thing, with the caption respect and the handshake emoji. No, 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 no. Not today. No, not now. I don't care that you sort of, every social media manager has some posts like back of mind at the start of an event, like, oh, sweet, I've kind of drafted this caption internally that if this happens or whatever. And that's an internal drafted caption. I can tell you that much right now. Don't hit send on that, because you're throwing petrol on that fire now, because you're trying to tell everybody, nah, don't worry about it. Everyone's worrying about it. And the more you tell us not to, the more we're going to.
And the problem is there's no backup.
Nope.
There's no backup to it, because actually what we don't know is everything could be okay. Everything could genuinely be fine. Yep. Oscar could have got out the car, looked at the TV screen and gone, all right, I might have overreacted a little bit there.
Yeah.
Lando might have gone straight over to Oscar and gone, mate, I'm so sorry. I overcooked it. Nobody on the radio. Nobody on the radio told me anything about papaya rules or giving a place back. It's not on me. And the two of them might be fine. McLaren might have spoken to both of them and said, look, it's fine. They might have said to Oscar, they said, stop being a whiny little bitch. They might have said to Lando, you don't do that anymore. That might have all been sorted out, and we don't know that. But because we don't know that, the picture that's being painted is then being kind of violated with those comments along the lines of, all right, now you're showing Oscar then. Oh, classic. Oscar always comes in the second photo. Oh, here we go. Golden boy Lando's doing this. Oh, this is the move we wanted all along. Because we don't know. And we have no idea. I mean, they both seemed fairly amicable in the little kind of interview that they had at the end when they were leaning up on the little kind of pit box board thingy, and they both seemed fine. Yeah. But whether they were or not, I haven't got a clue.
No.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Hey, they won, by the way. That's the other news. McLaren won the Constructors Championship. You wouldn't actually really know it based on the mood.
No.
But they did.
Yeah.
They won it.
Well, unsurprisingly, good for them.
Yeah. Well done. Well done. Hey, there were also 9 other teams that were racing at Singapore.
Really?
Yes. It wasn't all about the orange ones. Should we talk about Fernando? Because boy, did he have himself a day out.
Yeah, we talk about Fernando. He doesn't get spoken about a lot, to be fair.
No, he's a little bit absent this year. He's done some good things, but he always seems to be, when he's in a position to have a good weekend, Aston Martin find a new way to make sure that he does not have a good weekend.
Yeah. I can only assume Adrian Newey's not found his way to the office yet.
He's still in the canteen being like, tell you what, they have an incredible apple crumble tart. Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Because I just thought him turning up would have at least made something better. Anything. I'm not exactly sure what. And I know he'll be focusing completely on the next car, and that's fine. But I just thought that something might have got better. And I don't think it has with Aston Martin. But no, I mean, Fernando Alonso, I think, was quite well kind of summed up at the end, where he was quite sweary over the radio, wasn't he?
Very
Quite funny.
sweary.
Quite
He,
rather
he finished
sweary.
He finished P7, by the way. He's had an objectively brilliant weekend for an Aston Martin. But, I mean, he's had an all-timer on the radio, hasn't he? Like, if you talk to me every lap, I will disconnect the radio is a top 10 line for the year. I think what makes, and this is not, I say this and you've got to be careful saying this in 2025, but it's his voice and his accent as well that make these so much better. Because just the way he presents them, the line is already quite funny that if you keep talking to me every lap, I'll disconnect the radio. Okay, that's funny. I think if Oscar says that, it's nowhere near as funny. There's just something about it being Fernando and just the way he says it. Oh, incredible. And then I think at the end, he said, I cannot fucking believe it, about 7 times in the space of about 10, 12 seconds. In relation to Lewis Hamilton, and he did get that position off Hamilton, and we'll come to that in a second. But the bloke, I love him. I love him. He doesn't give a fuck. He's such dad energy with it now that he's just that bloke at the gym that's just dicking balls out in the change rooms for like 20 minutes for no reason, and he's just walking between. It's just like, put some trousers on, man. Like, you're too comfortable.
He never gave much of an arse about things when he started, to be fair. I mean, he went toe to toe with Michael Schumacher at the back end of that prime stint with Ferrari and took 2 world championships off him when he started for Renault. He's never really given a fuck about much, but he's certainly matured to a point where, as you say, he carries it better now, I think. I think when he started, there was an element of being young and petulant and immature, whereas now it's kind of, well, I'm 40 years old. If I'm going to call somebody a prick, I'm calling somebody a prick, and I'm going to own it, and that's the way I'm going to go about it. And yeah, wasn't he interviewed the other day about, he was asked whether he was going to continue, wasn't he? And he kind of said about the fact that if 26 goes well, then I'll probably keep going. If it stinks, then I'll probably quit, type thing.
No, it was the other way around.
Was it the other way around, was it?
If 26 goes well, he's off. He's done, he's happy. It's like when you have a net and it's like finish on a good one. He wants to finish on a good one. So I don't know what is deemed a good one.
Couple of
and
podiums?
Also, there's got to be levels of a good one as well, right? Because if he finishes top 4, let's say, I think that's ambitious. Maybe even top 5. But let's say he finishes top 5, he's not packing it in. If he's got a sniff that the car's good.
What if he wins the Austrian Grand Prix?
Okay.
He's what, 45% through the 2026 season. Maybe, and it looks unlikely. That's the first win Aston Martin have had. They've not really been near winning races. Does he just turn up, give Lawrence Stroll the keys and just go, I'm done?
See, this is where I don't believe him that he says, like, if it's going well, I'll stop. Because I think we saw, was it the start of 22? When Aston Martin were actually, everyone was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like Aston, was that 22 maybe?
Mate, I don't know.
And we were getting zingers on the radio from him, and he was saying goodbye to people on the radio as he overtook them. And I want that Fernando back. And you can't tell me,
didn't they?
You can't tell me that if that car is generating that again, that he's been like, that was fun, toodle pip. It's not happening. He's gonna hang on for sure. But yeah, great comments to be like, yeah, well, if it's shit, I'll probably stay on because you got to finish on a good one. It's like, you could be here until you're 80. How good is a good one to stop? But we talked about it a little bit earlier. Mr. Hamilton, and there's a wider conversation here, actually. We've got a little bit of meatball business to finish before we look at some random World Championship points.
Yes.
Should Lewis Hamilton have been meatballed for the fact that he did not have any brakes for an entire, 2 laps?
Absolutely, yes. Meatballed to the point. The thing is, meatballed to the point that it's unfixable, so he probably should have been black flagged.
Just stop. I was about to say stop the car. He couldn't. He didn't have any brakes.
No. But there was nothing safe about that at all, was there? Not a single bit of it. There was the video clip, there was a replay, wasn't it, when he overtaken by Antonelli, and you just saw from the front left just a whole host of sparks just burst out from the inside of the wheel drum, and he just went, oh, Okay. And I must admit, I thought maybe it was just the front left brake that had gone by that point. I thought, okay, maybe he can just kind of potter himself around and figure it out. But by all accounts, he had none at all.
Yeah. He
Now,
was
bearing
engine
in
braking, wasn't he,
mind,
the whole way?
yeah, bearing in mind that you can have a tiny flappy piece of carbon fiber running around on the offside, and all of a sudden it's like, no, 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 dangerous, dangerous. That piece of carbon fiber that could hurt someone. So you get your butt in this pit lane right now, mister, and get yourself sorted out, or retire the car, or we're going to have big troubles. The fact that you've got like a 2-ton rocket ship running around with no ability to stop whatsoever, other than using some form of object in order to make an abrupt stop, that's fine. And it wasn't even like the race director didn't know, because we all knew he had no brakes. Now, but I was going to say, whose duty of care is it? Because, I mean, Lewis and Ferrari aren't going to pack it in, are they? They're thinking about whatever position they might finish in the Constructors' Championship. But somebody there's got to go, lads, brakes, they're a necessity.
Yeah.
We're pulling you in.
Yeah. And to that extent, I'm actually almost slightly surprised that he said it so openly on the radio. I don't have any brakes.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the deal is in race control about whether they've got... Do they pay 20 people to sit there and just have a radio channel open each, just listening in to everything? Because, I mean, obviously they would have seen it on the broadcast anyway. We all heard it. But, I mean, you hear that. Now, there is an argument of, do you have to take them at their word? I suppose, yes, you do. And they would probably have telemetry that shows that he's not using the left pedal at any point as he goes around this lap. But the irritating thing, I think, for me, as much as anything, he's risking a lot of other people. And that's the annoyance. And this is the thing with the front wing end plates that you talk about. It feels like a silly thing to meatball someone over, right? They've said so many times that you can lose the front end plate. It doesn't actually really affect aero. You lose like a point of aero or something. It doesn't matter. But if that thing flies off, it becomes a death frisbee. And there are other people around the track. There are thousands of people watching, and the catch fences aren't that high for a piece of carbon being thrown up into the air or whatever. You've got so many marshals and stuff around the track, and as you say, you've now got this couple of ton rocket ship. Like, fucking hell, the bloke didn't make it around a corner, I don't think, in the last 2 laps. It's actually quite funny watching him. Like, he just straight lines it.
Well, he tried, didn't he? And then eventually just went, fuck it, I can't be arsed. I'll finish it however I finish it, and then they can deal with it, what they want to do. But considering the FIA kind of race directors are normally quite good at being fun police, I was genuinely quite shocked at the fact that there was nothing with regards to that. He obviously got that penalty, didn't he, post-race, after all of that stuff had happened.
Which I think was just for a track limits, essentially.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually anything to do with the fact that he had no brakes.
No, indirectly, but yeah, not directly related to it. It was just the fact that obviously Fernando got a bit stroppy with the fact that Lewis didn't bother taking any corner and managed to keep whatever place he had on the circuit. So he lost that spot and lost a couple of points. But yeah, genuinely quite amusing. Speaking of points, can I give you we spoke last week, didn't we, pre-Singapore, about the genuine 3-way title fight for the 2025 World Drivers' Championship.
Yes.
Well, Max Verstappen outscored both Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris this weekend, which you'd think is good, but it's actually got worse.
Ah, good.
So now he has 6 races left, and he needed 10 points. He needed to outscore both Lando and Oscar by 10 points per race from Singapore onwards. He's outscored them both. Now with 6 races to go, he needs to outscore them by 10.6 points per race. But hey, hey, you do you, other podcasters. You talk about what you need to get those views up for Dutch TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, it would be funny if it gets... what throws all of this into concern is a cheeky DNF of some description. Like, if Oscar gets tagged and taken out or something, then all of a sudden we do an episode called "Is Max going to win the lot?" But... if the season runs its course in a normal way, I think the other thing, and we're sort of at time here that I don't want to go too deep into a new topic, but the last couple of circuits are circuits that we kind of knew McLaren wouldn't be super strong at. And if we're to believe McLaren, they've not worked on this car at all since about June. Because why would they? They've had the Constructors one since June. Let's go full send on 26. So they are still very competitive at the circuits where they shouldn't really be that competitive, and the circuits where Red Bull historically, okay, Singapore is a bit of a bogey track, but like Baku and stuff was a Red Bullish kind of track. It's long straights, it's high speed, and all the rest of it. We've got some circuits coming up that McLaren are like, we'll be fine there. Even at the circuit that bad for McLaren, good for Red Bull or whatever, the gap's gone the other way. Yeah, it'll be I'd actually love to see it, because we'd love a close run thing all the way to the end. As much as I love Oscar and McLaren, we'd be quite happy to have some intrigue, but we don't. I don't think we need to worry about the Random World Championship points, do we, Dan? I don't think there's anything of interest there to talk about.
A little bit of interest. Hey, look. Based on recent weeks, you had a fantastic weekend. Did you know? I'm just going back here. That's your highest cumulative weekend point score since Canada.
One of them didn't have any fucking breaks, Daniel.
Yeah, but think of the positives. How long ago was Canada when you last scored 12 points from your drivers? Good for you. Good for you. And as well, you're nearing 200 points.
Oh,
You're on 183 points now. Good for you. Well done. I had two blokes that actually did quite well. They were two British lads. They finished first and third, and I got 40 points, which I believe it is the best point score haul of the entire year. And I actually lead, and I've gone past 200 points.
It's quite a big swing, isn't it? It's a big off swing.
202 points.
It's a big off swing.
Huge swing. Huge swing. So yeah, 202 to 183.
Danger. I need to have a chat with the team before Austin in a couple of weeks. Well, because that's not good enough.
Ultimately, if you weren't gallivanting around Europe, you'd have been at home. You'd have used the wheel spinner, and this wouldn't have worked on ChatGPT 5, would it? So
yeah, I think you might have teed it up. I think you might have fed some prior instruction into it. But you never know.
If you need to speak to the FIA, I can send screenshots.
I will speak to the chat FIA. Is that a thing? That'll do.
I can send screenshots. But no, I had a fantastic weekend. So good for me. It's got to be the first time I reckon that's genuinely the first time I've led this championship since the first weekend as well. Since Australia.
Stop with your fucking stats. Take your trivia and your crofty notebook bollocks, all right, and shove it up your ass.
TED notebook, but
no. Take your crofty's handwritten framed notes that he's flogging on Instagram. Roll them up real tight.
You've embarrassed yourself. You've embarrassed all of the Alex fans, and you've embarrassed the Formula One community. What we need here is we need more papaya rules.
We need lappy rules. Lappy R's.
What a weekend. Go on the boy.
Oh, dear. Right, Dan, where can they find you going and doing things on the internet?
At Dan Jads on the internet. I'll be there. And if you want to be there, I'll see you there. How about you? Are you streaming when you get back?
Yes, we should be back on. We'll be back on.
It feels like about time that there should be hey, look, it's Alex Formula One World Championship on F1 25.
I streamed some F1 content the other day with the old Logi wheel. That was good business. Yeah. So twitch.tv/hey look it's Alex. If you want to come and watch me do games on there, Lapdown Pod everywhere. Leave us a review and share it with a friend and hit like and subscribe and all that good stuff, please. If you have any thoughts or questions, lapdownpod@gmail.com. Send us an email and we might read that out in next week's episode as we look ahead to Austin. In the meantime, that's a toodle pip from me.
Yes. Splendid cheerio goodbye from me.
Bye.